Welcome to another edition of Ethical Bets, a show where I only talk about games that I have personally placed a bet in. And we're back. First video since sometime last week. Last video was I picked Texas over Ole Miss in the SEC tournament. Horrific bet. Terrible. Ole Miss beat the shit out of them. And Ole Miss actually ends up going on a nice little run there in the SEC tournament. But we're back today. Hopefully we have a better NCAA tournament than we did conference tournaments. But March Madness is here, and I got two bets open for tonight. So let's get into it. First game up. The most anticipated first four game of all time, Miami of Ohio against SMU. So as everybody knows, Miami of Ohio has only lost one game all season. They lost in their conference tournament. And now they're playing what many people would say their toughest team that they've faced all season. A power conference school in SMU. And a big factor in this game is the location. This game's being played in Ohio. It's basically going to be a home game for Miami of Ohio. This is the biggest basketball game in probably Miami of Ohio history. I don't, know, I'm not deep into the Miami of Ohio lore. I don't know how good they were back in, the 40s and shit like that. But this is going to be the biggest game in my lifetime in Miami of Ohio history. And, so it's basically going to be a home game. The crowd there is going to be going crazy for Miami of Ohio. And something they haven't played the toughest schedule. But if you just watch this Miami of Ohio team play, the way they run their offense, the open looks they create, I mean, you can just by watching, you can tell, okay, this is a really good basketball team, especially on offense. I think they're going to be able to score on SMU. I do think they're going to have trouble guarding SMU, especially guys like Boopy Miller. So getting stops at times, could be tough. Another thing I like here about Miami of Ohio, look at how many close games they've played this season. It seems like all the time it's like a 2-point game, crazy come from behind victory. They're used to being in those clutch, tight games, and I think that helps teams come, March when like we saw last night with Texas and NC State, a game that came down to the wire. So we go through here. I mean, look at some of this. They have a 5-point win there. Overtime win against UNC Asheville. 3-point win against Akron. Back-to-back overtime games followed by a 2-point win. 2-point win against Buffalo. 2-point win against Western Michigan. 2-point win against Toledo, another overtime game against Ohio, and then they lose by 4 to UMass. They've been in so many close games. If it's a tight game, they're going to be used to it. They've been in tight games all season long. And SMU, what has SMU done away from home this year? So at home, SMU this season, it'll change. Okay, yeah, at home SMU is 15-3. They've been awesome at home this year. 3 losses to Virginia, NC State, and Miami, Florida. Really good home team. How's that compared to how they do on the road and neutrals? So they go from 15-3 at home to 5-10 away from home. They have really struggled away from home. This is, again, basically going to be a road game. And look at what they've done on the road. They, on a neutral, they lose by double digits to LSU. Gross. Lose to LSU by double digits on a neutral. Where is the respect in that? My God. So yeah, SMU has struggled away from home. It's going to be basically a home game for Miami of Ohio. I think they can keep this close. I don't know if they win outright. I'm not going money line, but I got a +7, and the +7 is still out there right now. But +6.5, I would still bet that as well. I think this is going to be a close game that comes down to the wire yet again. So yeah, I like Miami of Ohio plus the points. All right. And now we're going to get a little weird here. Going to get a little gross. NIT basketball. Navy at Wake Forest. I have never bet the NIT before. Never bet an NIT game before. But you know what? College basketball season's almost over. We got to let it fire. Let it fire while we can here. This is just something that immediately jumped out to me this game when I saw the line. Navy plus 12.5. I think it's down to plus 12 right now. But there are some juiced 12.5 still on the board. Navy, a team that went 17-1 in conference. 17-1. They were obviously the front runners to win the conference tournament. End up losing by 1 point in their conference tournament to Boston University. But yeah, they were clearly favored to make the NCAA tournament and win the Patriot League. Again, they go 17-1 in conference, and they are 12.5 point underdogs or 12-point underdogs to Wake Forest. Now, this is an NIT game. This is actually played at Wake Forest, so this is a true home game for Wake Forest. I do like Wake Forest at home. I think they're just over the years, it seems like they've been much better at home than on the road or neutrals. But this just seems like too many points. I mean, this Navy team, earlier in the season, they go to Chapel Hill and play UNC, and they lose by 12. This was early in the season. Caleb Wilson played in this game, and they only lose to UNC by 12 points. So if they can hang in there at Chapel Hill with UNC, do I expect Wake Forest to just murder them? No. Wake Forest, they played it was opening night. Now again, games back in November, I don't know how much weight they hold, but I do think it's a good sign that they played a Patriot League team in American at home. They only won by 14. It's not like they beat them by 30. And Navy, yes, they did split with American. They went 1-1 against each other in conference. But Navy, a considerably better team than American. You're talking about a team that went 17-1 in conference. I think American went like 500 in conference, something like that, 9-9. And Wake Forest was only able to beat them by 14 points. Really good Navy team. I think they can hang around in this one. And something else, when you're talking about NIT, you always have to wonder which teams are really going to care. It's kind of like bowl games in college football. Which teams are actually going to really care to be there and win? I don't know how motivated Wake Forest is going to be to play in the NIT. I don't think they're just going to come out and, give no effort and it be a dud or anything. But these service academies, another reason why, most people always love to bet service academies in bowl games. They're going to care. The service academy teams are going to care. It doesn't matter if it's the NCAA tournament, NIT, practice, it doesn't matter. They're going to care and give full effort 100% of the time. So that's another little angle I like there for Navy. So yep, I'm on Navy. I got plus 12.5. Again, you can get a juiced 12.5 right now, or just 12. I think that's fine. If this was on a neutral, I would sprinkle money line, to be honest. But Wake Forest at home, I think they probably win the game, but I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a close game. But that's it. That's all I got for you today. Those are my two bets. Hopefully we start off March Madness in a good way here. Hopefully we get a nice little 2-0 night. But if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe if you want to see more. And until next time, I don't have a catchphrase yet.